Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. This is Faded here once again, and I've been getting, quite a few questions about like how to put a new SSD and get rid of your HDD and make your computer just run worlds faster. This is specifically on the Y510p. People kind of wanted to know how to take it apart and everything like that. But for anyone else, you can also see how this would be done on any other kind of laptop. I have a Samsung 840 Pro 256, and this is the stock hard drive, which because I've already got the Samsung inside, so I'm just gonna show you how this would be, but it's just reversed. So just pretend that this is our Samsung. You're going to need something like a SATA 2.5 in this case, or whatever size SATA that you have. SATA to USB, or you can have this. This is actually part of an enclosure. I have an unboxing video. If anybody wants to check this out, it's cheap. It's like $10. You can get it off of Amazon, and it'll be there like the next day. So I don't even use the enclosure. I just use this piece right here, which is a SATA to USB, and then plug it up. If you can get a 3.0 supported, I mean, don't go crazy and spend your money and just to do one transfer, but it'll cut your time in half if you can get the 3.0. Alright, so I'm going to show you this screen here and show you this programs and how you're going to do this. This program is available at a Samsung website, and I'll have it down in the description for you. So you can go check that out. Now this only works for Samsung devices. As you can see here, I'll show you what it would look like when you first start. This is the starting thing, and you just hit start, of course. But it's looking for a Samsung. So like if you tried to put say in this case that inside, it's not going to notice it, as you can see here. It's showing my source disk, as my SSD, my Samsung SSD, which is 256. And you got to realize that whenever you have an SSD, you're gonna lose quite a bit of space. So like here, I've lost like 20 gigabytes, which out of what would be 256. And I have 238. So, anyways, you're gonna start this process, but whenever you start to transfer, there's no going back. And one thing to know before you do try to start the transfer is that if you have something like a 1 terabyte hard drive, which in this case, we have one here, and what was originally in there, you can only have as much on that disk as you want to put over here. So if you want to take 257 gigabytes, it's not going to let you do it. You're going to have to take some videos off, or move some videos to another drive, and then make the transfer, and then decide like what you're going to do with your things afterwards. So yeah, that's really important to know. So make sure you get a big enough drive that if you want everything to go on there, this is the only way that you can do it. At least from using this method, you have to do it with enough adequate space. Anyways, so you start that process. It's going to take anywhere from 30 minutes to, even 2 hours, depending on how slow your hard drive is, how slow your transfer rate is, whether you're using 2.0 or not, and things of that nature. But I'm going to go ahead and cut and then show you how to take this PC apart and how to replace it safely without any issues. And then the proper setup afterwards, because there's a few things that you need to do once you install an SSD to make sure that everything went well, and how to optimize it and things of that nature. Anyways, alright guys, so I've got everything unplugged. Make sure you take everything unplug it. Unless you've got a USB thing, that doesn't really matter, but make sure your AC is not plugged in. Definitely want to take that out. And then you're going to take your battery out, and once again, this is on the Y510p, the Y500, 400, 410. They're all pretty similar. They all have the same chassis and build. But as for other computers, definitely follow these steps as well. What's so special about this one is the Ultra Bay GPU. Some people just don't know how to take it out, and I mean, I even had to Google it at first. Anyways, so here you have this little switch. You flip it from the locked position, and slide it over. It'll show red, meaning hey, I'm open. And then this one you have to hold open while you pull. I have this already kind of undone, so I can do it with one hand and show you. And that comes right out. And then there's this little switch right here. I'm gonna get close up for you. That right there. So you have the locked position here, which I can't switch it because I have this open. So once that shows red, that means you're ready to go. And now to take this GPU out, it's got a little nozzle, a little beveled in right here. That helps you pull it off. And then this, you have to hold this closed, like hold this up towards the screw, and pull at the same time as you're doing that. And then I've already kind of pulled it out already, and then it'll just come right out. And then there you go. That'll be gone and out of your way. Make sure you put that aside. Alright, and let's see here. And then you're also going to want to take out all of these screws. That is 1 screw, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. Okay, I believe that's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. You don't have to take these out. Don't take those out. You're fine without that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just remove these real quick, and then I'll have it ready to show you how to take off the back cover. Alright, so I've got those 9 screws unscrewed, and now we're going to want to take off this back panel. This is plastic. I know it kind of looks like metal like the top, but it's not. It's straight up plastic. I recommend picking an end, one of these, not up here. That's kind of angrily over there. And so you pick one of these ends here, and you're going to want to pull. I kind of like this end better. It's worked best for me on my old one and the new one. So I really like to start here. Now it does kind of take some force, more than you might think. But there are clips on the inside that you don't want to break. But if you do break them, it's not like it's gonna kill you. Don't cry. And then you just kind of lift this up. The more you do it, the easier it gets. I'm sure I've broken a few clips, and then it just kind of pops right off, right there. And of course, set that to the side. And you're gonna get something that looks like this. I recommend turning it this way. Now the only areas that you're going to be dealing with are going to be this area right here. This is most HDDs have this little silver coating on it or some kind of thing like that. You don't need anything over here. Don't mess with anything like that unless you know what you're doing, of course. Now if you're on like a Dell or some other thing, I have no idea. It could be anywhere in here, but they're usually anchored down with 2 to 4 screws, and then they're also within a chassis of themselves, which you'll see whenever I unscrew this here. So involving just the Lenovo products here, you undo these 2 screws, which I'm just going to do this now because it takes like 2 seconds. Or I don't know, maybe it might take me an hour and a half because, I'm just so smart. Anyways, so you just do this here. Cue the music. Okay. Alright, now my way of taking this out is after you do these 2 screws right here, I kind of put my screwdriver right here. Let me get a better focus for you. Alright. And then kind of just push it that way. And then lift it up. Don't touch this circuit board, and definitely don't mess with those gold pieces. You don't want to touch those. It's not good for the health of the drive. Oh, whoops. Sorry, my video cut out there. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and take these 4 screws out here, and then show you how to put it in there. Okay, so we've got that apart. Alright, now here is, this is now the Samsung, so we can, stop pretending with the HDD. So here's our Samsung. Now the way you put this in this chassis here is, okay, so you have this side up, so these pointing up, and the back is what I would call the back of the Samsung. So here's, the pretty front, is going to go up. Another way to look at this is to say that the smaller thing right here, the smaller end piece goes up, or that way, so it can match. It can match this inside of here, because that's how it's going to lay. Okay, so we just slide this in here. Oh my goodness, slide it in just like that. Go in there, and then put these 4 screws in, which I'm going to do that real quick. It's not really hard. Another way to check is if you see the Samsung orange logo, that orange thing at the bottom, you can see that through the holes. That shows that you've done it right. Alright, so I'm going to put these screws in and then show you how to place it in carefully. Alright, so we got our SSD back in here, and as of course I showed you a minute ago, if you don't have a Samsung, or you have something else, I'm pretty sure you could figure out that piece and how it looks up under this pull tab. That's what it's going to look like. So it's going to go down in the system like this. I very rarely have ever seen any HDD flip it, or SSD. I've never really seen it. It's usually that this is that direction. If you have something, please send me a picture. Let me know. I wanna see that. Anyways, the way I get it in the unit is it's kind of tilted down like this, in a slanted kind of manner, and then once these start to meet up, then release. Just kind of let it fall down, and then again, without scratching anything or any kind of circuitry boards, this is how I put it in. I kind of just use these screw holes and pop it into place. Go to this other one, make sure it's in, and then replace your screws. Okay, so we got our screws back in there, and everything. Do a quick glance over, make sure you didn't leave any screws inside. You don't want to be halfway through and realize that you left a screw inside. Okay, and then in the same manner that you took it off, or you found that worked for you to take it off, just do that in reverse order. So, oh shoot, I gotta flip it back around this way. So I'm gonna flip this way and turn her back around the same way I unhooked, and then take our corner here, which I really recommend it on this direction. Something to do with the way the Ultra Bay leaves room for, I don't know, flex or something. And then kind of push this in first. Get all that. If you have a Dell or some crazy Alienware or something, it's going to be different, of course. And just kind of get it in. But keep in mind that there is a screen on the other side and glass, so don't get push happy. Just kind of get it on there. I can't really do much with one hand, but now the most of the problem is going to be right here with this separation. I really suggest putting all these screws in first, and then giving every area kind of an even push, and you're going to hear these little clicks when you put it in. I'm gonna go ahead and get these screws in, and then I'll show you those click sounds and show you how kind of the bottom kind of flexes and points in the areas that you're gonna have to give a little bit more of a push. All right, so I've got my all 9 screws are back in the unit, and here I'm going to show you. This is probably specific just to Lenovo products, 410 and 510 and 5 and 400. You can see this. See how it's warped right here. Come on, focus for me. There we go. It's warped here, and you might have some other places, like maybe throughout the middle. Once you put that screw in, this middle screw, it'll probably you might hear a snap. I recommend lifting the unit away from the screen. Yeah, I'm gonna put you down and show you. Kind of like this. So you have your unit away from it, and you can apply pressure to the places that need to be applied to. And it does kind of take some force here to get this in, and you just kind of push it in. It's going to make a pop and noise and all that just to show that it gets back in. Yeah, so that looks a lot better. Let's see. Let's zoom, get you focus. Come on, focus, baby. There we go. Yeah, that looks a lot smoother now. Everything's back together. Okay, now with this GPU that we have, before you put the battery pack in, you gotta slide the GPU back into place. It just goes right in. Fan side goes towards this way. I'll try and stick it the other way. And once you get that in, give it a little bit of push. It'll either click into place, which is this clicking. This is locking again. If this is not red and you try to put it in, it's not going to let you put it in. Make sure that's red. And then, because when you put the battery in, the battery pushes that to black. So you slide your battery back in, and then flip this switch to red or off of red. That'll lock your battery in place. See, so you don't have to, oh, there goes my speaker. Anyways, you just do that, and then make sure you get everything plugged back up, and start your boot process. Now the boot sequence might be a little bit different than what you're used to. It might go to BIOS first, and sorry, I keep running out of space on my my phone here. So it might boot to BIOS, but 95% of the time you're not gonna have any issues, and it's just gonna boot up like lightning fast, and you're gonna be like, wow. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over and show you what the tweaks you need to do to set up your SSD and make sure your alignment is all correct and you have everything where it needs to be able to run your SSD at the highest performance. Alright guys, so we've got everything loaded back up and everything of that jazz, and we're on to the final parts of this how-to here. So the first thing that you need to do is, if you're on Windows 8.1, you can right click this and hit run, or if you have the start button on Windows 7 or something of that nature, you just hit the run command, and you're going to open up run, and then from run you're going to want to type in ms info 32. So you type that in, hit OK, and it's going to open up system information. If you know how to access system information through Control Panel, you can certainly do it that way. And then you're going to go to hardware, or components rather. Scroll down to where it says storage. You'll see drives, but it's under disk. And I have a M.2 SATA, so disregard this stuff here. Scroll down until you find the one that you installed. It'll have a model. And here we have the Samsung SSD 840, the one I put in there. And then you'll scroll down and you'll see partition size and partition offset. You're going to see, multiples of these because, this smaller 1000 megabyte and this smaller, 260 megabyte. These are for like drive switching and control. That's all the firmware area for the hard drive, or the solid state drive. And then right where here is, you want to find the biggest one, which is where all your data is set to, like where your Windows is going to be on and everything. And then it's this number right here, this partition starting offset. You want to take that number, type it into your calculator. So in this case, I'm going to type this in. So 1456 472 064. And then you want to divide this by 4096 and make sure it divides evenly, like you have no decimal places. If you have an even number and no decimal places, you're all set for the alignment of your SSD, and nothing went wrong during the cloning process. So now another thing is, we'll look at this in a minute, but down here you have power settings, and within your power settings you can go to I believe it's under, what happens when you close the lid, or it's under, I'm not quite too sure. Let's see. Choose the power button. Okay, so mine doesn't have it, but here you'll see down here in Shutdown Settings, I have it actually cut off within the OS itself, but this is for just general users that don't really know the back end of a computer. You go down here to Shutdown Settings, and you're gonna see hibernate or hybrid, and it's going to say where it fast wake or fast restart. You can go ahead and turn fast restart off, because there's no real reason to save Windows files, because it's going to read it just as fast as it would without it. So you really don't need to be creating copies of Windows and saving it so you could boot faster whenever the SSD is going to grab it just fine. And lastly, if you have a Samsung, and I know some other brands actually do this as well, it would be really nice to download the Samsung Magician software, where you can do things like, check and see if it's genuine, see the status, see how much has been written to it, how many healthy sectors it has left. You can also run a firmware updates. You can OS optimization, where it's going to manage all your OS stuff and put it where it needs to be. And then you can also do performance optimization, which you would like to definitely find a program of some sort that works for your SSD, and then run this maybe once a month or once every 3 months. And this is kind of like defragging your hard drive, but you don't want to do that with a Samsung, with a SSD, because you really don't need to. It actually just gonna cause more writes on your SSD. So what you really want to do is actually go to Disk Manager and actually turn off disk defrag. And that is different on many computers. You could probably Google it and find out how to do it real quick. And then you just make sure that's turned off as well. And then do the optimization with whatever manufacturer you have. I definitely recommend it. Well, anyways, that's it. You're set up. After that, you have cloned the exact copy of your old hard drive, and now it's on a new, fast, powerful, solid state drive. So it's going to be a lot faster from here on out. Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Definitely subscribe and go ahead and click that like button for me. And if you guys have any more tips or anything that you want shown, or any how-to videos that you just can't seem to find on the internet, just let me know, and I will post and do whatever I can to help you out. Alright, thank you guys so much. Y'all take care.